Welcome back, Dallas Fort Worth, to Ask the Experts radio show on Talk Radio 1190, where we interview local professionals and experts in their field. Once again, we have Roger Wakefield from Texas Green Plumbing, and he has Maggie Parks in here with Model Realtors. You know, Roger, I guess, jumping right back into it, and I guess what y'all are talking about with, AI housing and stuff like that. I mean, is our houses going to take over?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to take over.
They already are.
I was going to say they are.
And real quick, Roger, I guess with YouTube and everything and your focus on that, why such a focus on YouTube these days?
It's a way to communicate with people. YouTube is a way that I can teach people there are things they can do to their own plumbing system that they don't have to pay a plumber for. And it's kind of crazy because I have plumbers send me messages all the time. Dude, I cannot believe you're taking money out of our pockets. Plumbers get mad at me.
Really?
But it's like, okay, I could have you watch one of my videos and you can go home and rebuild your toilet.
I fixed my toilet before watching YouTube
Exactly.
video.
Yeah, we talked about that just the other day.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's like, okay, that saved you $300 or $400.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why don't I make videos and actually teach people, hey, look, there are things you can do yourself and save money.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So what all do you watch YouTube for?
I have a very do-it-yourself father, so I grew up, helping him fix our cars. So when my car's acting crazy, I'll watch a YouTube video and kind of diagnose what's going on with my car, and my dad and I will watch the video and get in there and, again, save ourselves money going to the dealership if it's something we can tackle ourselves.
Right.
And then plumbing issues. I mean, as a model, I'll watch YouTube for, tutorials on makeup or hair if I have like a fashion show or a photo shoot where I'm supposed to do something I've never done before. I mean, kind of anything. Cooking.
Do you know I used to be a hairstylist?
Did you really?
I really did.
Are you being facetious or you're serious?
I really was.
Okay,
He's serious.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Okay.
I used to be a hairstylist, used to be a massage therapist,
Really?
a bodyguard,
So you're a jack of all trades.
master of one.
Well,
I got to love it.
at least you mastered one.
So how do you go from being a runway model to getting into real estate? What caused that?
Well, Cody and I both have worked together as models for probably 20 years, and we've known each other forever. And as a model, unfortunately, there is an expiration date. I still work, Cody still works, but where you're really making a lot of money to support yourself and your family, that happens primarily when you're in your early 20s. So as you start to get older, you kind of have to find something else to segue into. And Cody had just signed up with Rogers, and I was starting to go to classes because I thought, real estate's kind of similar to modeling in a way like a lot of what we do is we walk around, say, Neiman Marcus, and we literally sell the diamonds or the furs off of our back, and you have to, show people why it's valuable and they're expensive products. So it's kind of similar when you're showing luxury homes and highlighting what's great about it. And Cody had signed up with Rogers, and I went and sat in on one of his classes, and I loved his energy, and I signed up that day. And once we started working together with Rogers, since we were both models, we thought it'd be a fun play on word, model realtors, be the ideal realtors for our clients. So we just kind of started Model Realtors as our little hashtag, and it just kind of took off.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have watched your videos. I love what y'all are doing in the houses, and I love the way you do it. You mentioned Neiman Marcus.
Yes.
So I want to tell you a story.
Okay.
I got to do a plumbing remodel at Stanley's house, Stanley Marcus.
Yes.
So it was really neat because at the time I had a 1957 Chevy Apache pickup truck that was bubble gummed, duct taped, baling wire, and everything else holding it together.
Right.
It was primered. It was ugly. The driver's door wouldn't open. I had problems with the gas tank. It would die on me because there was so much garbage in it. It would clog the filter. And I pulled up in front of Stanley's house, Stanley Marcus's house, and I park and I walk up to the front door, and this lady answered, Miss Marcus, who's probably in her 70s at the time. And I'm like, Miss Marcus, my name's Roger Wakefield. I'm with so-and-so plumbing, whichever company I was at the time. And I'm talking to her, and the entire time she's on her tiptoes looking over my shoulder. And I'm talking to her, and I feel like, okay, what? And I keep turning around looking behind me. And she says, so is that a 57? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. She said, is that an Apache? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. She's like, you got a straight 6 in it? And I'm like, yes, ma'am, I do. She said, does that actually have the floor pedal to start it? Because used to, you stuck a key and turned it, and there was a button or a pedal on the floor that you pushed that went to the starter and started it. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, it does. She said, can I drive that around the block?
Really?
And I'm like, no, ma'am. I said, I'm sorry. It dies. The driver's door doesn't open. And I mean, she's in her robe and house shoes. And she's literally like, no. I learned, I don't know if she said she learned to drive or used to drive. Her dad used to have one.
Yeah.
Or something like that. She ended up going and getting in that truck.
She did.
Drove it around the block and came back. And I mean, 3 on the tree, pedal start, whole 9 yards. And she came back. She looked 20 years younger.
Really?
It just, I mean, she was smiling. It was anyway,
that's a great story.
That's my story for the day.
No, that's a great
It's an awesome story. I'm sitting here all like,
I know. I'm trying not to get teary-eyed in here because it was one of those deals. It was just a neat thing.
It is.
And you took this wonderful lady back to a younger time for a little while.
That's amazing.
It's kind of cool.
I like that story.
I had fun with that.
Uh-huh.
So back to plumbing. What is the biggest plumbing problem that you've ever seen or ran into or
well, what I was
like
telling
that?
you about earlier, recently one of my previous clients called me because the house that I helped them purchase, we knew it had foundation issues when we bought it, had a lifetime warranty. Unfortunately, that lifetime warranty company went away. So they were having people come out to give them quotes. And when the foundation company came out to give them a new quote on the foundation, they realized that there was some severe plumbing leak issues, and they were quoted over $15,000 in repairs, which none of that came up on our inspection. And you and I were saying if I would have requested the leak test.
I recommend to all my realtors, if you represent a buyer, always send them an email and say, I recommend a sewer water test, a leak test, whichever way you want to call it, because that does lead to foundation problems.
Yes.
As I'm sure they told you.
Yeah. And none of this came up. But yes, with the foundation issues, always there's the scare of because the pipes.
And the foundation company, just so you know, that I recommend in Dallas is Williamson Foundation.
Okay.
And it's neat because, and you being a real estate agent, you'll understand, there's transferable warranties and there's warranties and there's companies that are no longer around.
Right.
Roger Williamson, and I've had him on the show before. Roger Williamson actually, and what did it, he's got Casey, who came to a networking event, and she's literally sitting behind me. And when we get up and do our 30-second commercials and go around, the thing that she stood up and said, she said the first house we did, I believe it was 1985. So at the time was 31 years ago, 30 years ago. She said, we still warranty that job.
Wow.
And she said, we warranty the job, not the house, not the owner, none of that. We warranty the work that we do forever. And most of the foundation companies out there, if I'm buying a house from you and you've got a warranty, well, one of us has to pay that warranty or that foundation company to come back out, check it again, transfer this, pay for all this, do all this. And there's a cost involved.
Yes.
Roger's like, hey, you know what? I did that job. I guarantee it. Period.
That's great.
And that's why I recommend them.
Yeah.
And just, you mentioned foundation companies and not being around.
Yeah.
I think they're probably some of the best people in the Dallas area.
Good to know.
But a home sewer water test is not even as expensive as a home inspector.
Really?
And the thing is, the home inspector inspects everything above the floor. If he walks in and says, hey, that light bulb up there doesn't work, chances are you need a new switch, you need a new fixture, you need something like that. It's a couple of $100. If your sewer leaks, if your water leaks, and it's leading to foundation issues, now we're talking several $1,000s. Mm-hmm. And that's why when I go teach realtors classes, one of my number one deals is always recommend a sewer water test to all your buyers because it can save them
so much money,
tens of thousands of dollars. One of the jobs I went on in Richardson, just west of 75, there's a real nice neighborhood.
I live in Richardson.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, me too.
Oh, awesome.
I live in Saxe. Our office is in Richardson.
Okay.
But west of 75, between around Campbell and
Canyon
all that.
Creek?
Canyon Creek.
That's
There
where
it
my
is.
parents live, yes.
Okay. Very nice neighborhood.
Yes.
Old cast iron pipes in that neighborhood. And a couple moved there from California, bought a house for $330,000, which is probably a pretty good deal in that neighborhood where they were at. Problem was they needed $60,000 worth of sewer work done within 6 months. And I asked him, I said, well, didn't your real estate agent say, look, y'all may want to have that tested? And they said, no, never said a word about it. I said, well, y'all know about foundation problems. Why wouldn't y'all get it done? They said, we're from California.
You don't realize.
Yeah. We had no idea. What is this black clay y'all talk about?
Yeah. I try to always prep my buyers that aren't from Texas. It's going to be an issue. It's just going to be an issue wherever you are.
For every one of us.
For every one of us.
Each and every one of us. Anthony, have you ever had, or do you know of anybody that's ever had foundation issues or anything like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, we're not talking about champs or anything, are we?
No. That they've got sewer problems. I don't know if they've got foundation issues.
Oh
or
no,
not,
they
but-
definitely have foundation issues. They had, I think it's the buildings rose like 3 or 4 feet. But yeah, foundation issues left and right. Actually, we used to do rehab work. And I mean, that would be, I would say 70 to 80% of the issues because, as you know, here in DFW, shift happens, you know?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And it's a bad thing, but do you mind if I swing us to break, guys?
Why don't you shift us on out of here?
I will do that. Once again, DFW, you are listening to Ask the Experts radio show on Talk Radio 1190. I am Anthony Cernelia with Roger Wakefield of Texas Green Plumbing, and he has Maggie Parks of Model Realtors with him. If you'd like to call the show at any time, it is either 214 or 817-787-1190. We'll be right back right after these messages.